So welcome to today's talk about the Deta Elis diagnostic scanners and also about the amazing bioresonance training that Dr. Yanis will be coming and offering here in the UK soon. So as usual, I'm going to share some slides with you and talk you through various details about the scanners and about the training. So the training is a fantastic opportunity to come and learn a whole wealth of information about health and healing using frequency, using bioelectromagnetic medicine. And in order to do the training to become a bioresonance practitioner, you need to be able to use one of the diagnostic scanners. So I'm going to start by showing you some slides to illustrate the scanners and their capabilities, and then go on to talk more about the training. So let me just share my screen here. Okay, so here we go. So we have two fabulous devices for assessing health, for getting a wide range of readings about the state of a client's health. And those two devices are called the DeVita-D and the DeVita Professional, and I'll explain the differences in a moment. So recently, over the last year or so, the original models of these devices have been upgraded and improved, and thousands of new frequencies have been added to them. So this is the previous model, which you can see looks quite outdated now, and this is the more modern, updated, state-of-the-art version of the DeVita Professional. Now, this scanner not only gives a diagnostic set of readings, but also gives treatments. There are 5 treatment modalities included within this model, whereas the DeVita-D, which is smaller, is effectively, if I were to draw a line here, is effectively the left half of this device that just does the diagnostics. The treatment devices or treatment modalities that are included in the right part of this device can be bought separately. So if you have the DeVita-D for diagnostics, you can make up the treatment options with separate portable devices if you wish. Or of course, your clients can buy the mini treatment devices to work on at home rather than having to come to your clinic for treatment. So let's look a little bit about what's involved here. Now, this picture shows the old original version of the DeVita-D, of the DeVita Professional, but the principle is the same. On the left here, we have the diagnostic part of the scanner, and on the right side, we have the treatment modalities. So we have electroacupuncture, electromagnetic therapy, quantum light therapy, endogenous bioresonance therapy, and we have the ability to make homeopathic remedies here with the pharmacological remedy selector. So there's a lot of scope for diagnosing and treating using this scanner. Here is the updated one, and you can see again the diagnostics part is on the left, and the combi part, the combination of different therapy modalities, is on the right. So let's look a little bit about how this works, because of course there's lots of diagnostic frequency devices out there in the market available, and they all work in slightly different ways. And this DeVita Professional and DeVita-D works via a probe on your finger. It looks a little bit like a metal pen here, and it delivers the frequencies of the things you're wanting to test for through the probe into your client's finger via a point close to the nail bed of their finger. One of the things you do on the training is you learn how to find the point with which you can gain readings and how to use the probe accurately. The frequencies are inputted through this probe into the client's finger, into their body, and then there will be a response. The client's body will respond depending on whether they have that frequency already in their body. So for instance, if you're testing for a particular parasite, you would play the frequency of that parasite into the body, And if the client has that parasite, the body will respond in a particular way, which will cause this needle here on the display unit to move in a particular direction. If they don't have that frequency, so there's no resonance with the frequency of the parasite that's being played into them, then the needle will respond differently. And what's really incredible about this little dial here is that the needle can respond in various ways to give a whole range of information about the state of your client's health. So initially, it will simply give you a reading of whether your client has that virus, that bacteria, that heavy metal, has low energy reserves, or whatever it is you're testing for. So you'll know they have that or they don't have that. But then it will give you extra information about the quantity of the microorganism burden, for instance. It will give you an indication of how long it's been there, whether it's chronic or acute. And in the case of a virus, it will give you information about whether the virus is in an active state, a dormant state, and could awaken at any point, or a permanently latent state. There's also information we can gain linking pathologies to locations in the body, to organs, to symptoms, and various other bits and pieces. So it's a fantastic way of getting a wide range and in-depth range of information about your client and their health. So here are some of the things, not all of the things, but some of the things we can test for. We can look at their energy levels, their energy reserves, the energy that's available to them, and the energy that's less available, that's blocked, if you like, from being used. We can look at their psycho-emotional state. We can look at the degree of stress in their organism, the condition of the immune system, the stress in the immune system, the exhaustion within the immune system. We can look at the condition of the endocrine system and different parts of the nervous system, including the autonomic nervous system. Now, this is really fascinating. We can get a reading about how many toxins, the quantity of toxins are in your client's body. And not only that, we can locate where those toxins are in terms of, are they closer to the cell, which means that's not such good news. We don't want those toxins to be able to invade the cell wall. Or are they closer to the vessels where they can be eliminated and carried away through the blood and lymph systems? So we can get information like that that will change the programs that we might make for our client afterwards. We can get readings about heavy metals and which heavy metals the client may have, about geopathic stress loads, about radioactive loads, about electromagnetic field load. We can get information about toxins from household chemicals, from pesticides, pollutants, and other chemical toxins. We can get information about environmental toxins, toxins from drug residues. And then we can look at pathological changes, like whether a client's beginning to develop a cyst or a tumour or something like that. We can see if they have autoimmune processes going on, or whether they're at risk of autoimmune disease. We can look at allergies and intolerances, food intolerances, and we can see if there's any acute or chronic inflammatory processes happening within their body. We can also look at deficiencies like mineral deficiencies or enzyme or vitamin deficiencies, or even hormone deficiencies. We can then look at burdens from microorganisms. So we get readings about whether our client has a mold or fungal burden, a viral burden, bacterial burden, whether they have helminths, protozoa, parasites, and then we can identify which. So we can see, have they got this sort of mold or that sort of mold? Have they got Epstein-Barr virus or herpes virus, or have they got Helicobacter pylori in their body? We can identify what the individual microorganisms are so that they can be treated and eliminated. And we can treat or eliminate these microorganisms in a variety of ways. And by the way, if I just go back here, these are just some of the things that we can get readings for There are all sorts of other things we can look at as well, but these form some of the readings of what you might think of as the basic scan for our clients. Now, I am going to go on in a couple of days and give a talk showing what the scan report reveals so that we can see more about the detail of that. But let's just look at some of the ways we can treat a client when we've found out what's going on. So one of the therapy modes available to us in this right-hand section of the diagnostic scanner is something called basic BRT. BRT means bioresonance therapy. And we're here talking about endogenous bioresonance therapy. So this is where we take the frequencies that are already in the client's body and we separate them into the frequencies that are harmonious and belong there and the frequencies that are disharmonious. In other words, the pathological frequencies coming from things like microorganisms. Now, once those two sets of frequencies are separated out, the healthy, harmonious ones are boosted and fed back into the client, and the pathological ones are inverted. They're turned upside down, which has the effect of cancelling them out or deactivating them so they can't continue to wreak havoc in the body. And the effect of that is that the immune system can kick in more easily and fight those pathogens and begin to bring strength back to the body, at the same time de-stressing the body because you've taken away the stress of having to deal with those microorganisms. So this is a really lovely way of being able to treat clients in your clinic using endogenous bioresonance therapy. We can also make pilules, we can make remedies and print them onto either homeopathic pills or into liquid vials. And to do that, I'm not going to tell you how to do that now, but we will use some of these different selectors in the selector part of the therapy modes. Now, we can also do something called autonosode therapy, which is absolutely fascinating and very useful if you have a client who has an acute condition that needs treatment immediately, particularly if they're suffering, if they're in pain. Now, obviously, we can treat the root cause of that condition so that it doesn't keep reoccurring with the mini bioresonance devices. So with the AP device or the RITM device, these little mini devices that are this size against my hand. But if you have a client who comes to you and they are suffering in the here and now and they need some acute treatment, we can treat them with autonosode therapy, which is an amazing thing to be able to do. Basically, we're taking a secretion from the client, which might be mucus, it might be saliva, it might be urine, it could be blood, it could be other things. And we play the frequency of their secretions through the BRT part of the therapy mode of the device. And the frequencies of those secretions become inverted, so they become cancelled out. And then they are fed back into the client. And the result of that is extraordinary. It takes away the pain, it takes away the symptoms of the allergic reaction, so itchy eyes disappear or the runny nose or whatever it is. In the case of something like cystitis, it's absolutely invaluable because it will take away the pain. And of course, you can then treat them with the mini devices so that the microorganism responsible for the discomfort doesn't reoccur. But it's a fabulous way of working. So that's autonosode therapy. We also have exogenous bioresonance therapy, which you can treat your client with via the mini device I just held up. But if you want to do in-clinic treatments, we have some antennae which will attach to the professional or the DeVita-D, and you can treat your client in the clinic via these larger antennae that emit frequency more powerfully over a radius of about 1.5 meters. So you could have 1 or even 2 or 3 clients sitting there and receiving bioresonance treatment in your clinic. It would mean they'd need to come probably several times a week and sit there for an hour or 2 for the duration of their programs. So for many clients, it's better to work with the mini devices, which you would tailor-make programs for and load onto those devices. And then the client takes them away, works with them at home. And in the ideal world, if somebody's coming with a chronic condition or something that needs a little bit of time, there might be several microorganisms responsible for that condition, then they're going to need to work with bioresonance over many months, maybe a year or so. So it's well worth them buying the mini devices, playing their programs for 2 or 3 months, and then coming back and having another scan, seeing what's changed, having the programs changed, and then going away and working for another 2 or 3 months, and carrying on like that over the course of maybe a year to get to the bottom of all the microorganisms that might be causing the condition. So in addition to bioresonance therapy, we have quantum light therapy. Now, this is an old picture of the quantum device, but it will give you an idea. This device, when it's connected to the DeVita Professional or the DeVita-D, it will light up with a full spectrum of colours that will light up. Sometimes they will move in a particular rhythm. And this has a very healing effect, a gentle healing effect for various conditions, particularly skin conditions. So you can treat a client who might have eczema or some skin condition or other, or who is wanting to change signs of aging, wanting to reduce their wrinkles or improve their skin tone, their skin appearance, their skin health. And whilst you can apply the quantum light to an area of discomfort on the skin, you can also apply it to different zones on the face, which are a bit like the reflexology zones you might know about on your feet. We have similar zones on the face, and by treating those zones, we can create effect in a different organ or part of the body. So this is a really lovely treatment modality. And it's one, if you don't have the DeVita Professional, if you buy the DeVita-D, you can buy this as a separate portable modality, as an add-on. Then we have electrotherapy or electroacupuncture. We can deliver electrical impulses either through the metal probe into specific points on your client's body, or we can take a couple of metal plates that come with these devices, and if they have a headache or a muscle ache or back pain, we can simply place the metal plates on either side of the affected part of their body, and they will receive the electrotherapy through those plates, and with a bit of luck, the pain will magically vanish. As previously mentioned, we can also make homeopathic type remedies and either print frequencies from the device onto sugar pills or into liquid vials. It's always better where possible to work with the bioresonance devices because they will have a more powerful effect. But if someone isn't in a position to buy them, or you're just treating something very acute, you could print the frequencies from the devices onto these pills. The pills will be potent for, I believe, about 30 days. If you print them to liquid vials, I think it's shorter. I think it's 7 to 10 days, roughly. So a lot of really great possibilities for both diagnosis and treatments with the DeVita Professional. As I mentioned earlier, there are, of course, other companies making diagnostic devices out there on the market. So a question I get asked a lot is, well, why this one? Why the DeVita Professional? Why the DeVita-D? What makes it different? And one of the really important things I would say about these devices is their accuracy and their reliability. Different company scanners work in different ways. Our scanner is very manual. You're learning to use a probe on a finger and you are inputting frequencies. And the answers you get are not only reliable, but they're reliably reproducible. Now, there are some scanners where if you were to do 3 consecutive scans on the same client and just give the client a different name for each of those scans, you would get different readings. I've seen this many times. And one of the things that people often come and talk to me about when I go to trade shows or mind body shows is they'll often say, if they have one of these devices, you know, I'm not 100% happy with it because it seems to not be completely reliable. I seem to get different readings on the same client, or if I retest something, I get a different reading, which obviously is a bit of a concern. So with this device, you can do 3 scans, one after another, and whatever name or age you put in, you'll get the same readings. It's highly reliable, highly accurate and used by many, many doctors for that reason. It will give very accurate diagnoses. If you want to back up your findings by asking your client to go and have a blood test or urine test or whatever, it will pretty much always come back confirming your findings. All the people who we've asked to do that have come back with confirmation. So it is very accurate. And we can accurately find where in the body there is an issue, which organ is the condition originating in, what's the pathology, what's the root cause. And we can piece together, like a detective, different pieces of information that gives us a really in-depth picture of our client's health, so that we can treat it at an in-depth level. These diagnostic devices have over 23,800 different frequencies for using to diagnose or to treat our clients. So that's a huge number of frequencies that are available to you. You might not use them all, you might just work your way through a basic scan, but if you need to further investigate things in more detail, there's many, many, many more frequencies available to you. I've already mentioned these 5 modes of therapy: electromagnetic therapy, bioresonance therapy, electroacupuncture therapy, quantum light therapy, therapy via remedies, and combinations of these, including the autonosode therapy. As mentioned, if you don't want to invest in the DeVita Professional, but you want to go for the diagnostics only device, you can buy these treatment devices separately. So here are the 3 little treatment devices that the client would buy that you could load programs onto for them to work with. We have the AP, which is a detox device to eliminate all manner of toxins, chemicals, microorganisms, heavy metals, etc. We have the Rhythm device, which is a restorative, strengthening, recalibrating device. And each of these, we can tailor-make programs and load them onto there for the client to use. We have a third device that the client might choose to buy, but we can't put any tailor-made programs on there. It comes with 11 programs that work at a very foundational level to help energize the cells of the client, to help protect their cells from harm of radiation, to help protect the DNA from harm, to help de-stress the body, to help harmonize the mental state, and things like that to help with preventing signs of aging. But if you're working to tailor-make programs for your client, it's the AP and the Rhythm that the client would use. If you're not using these antennae to treat them in your clinic, that is. Here's the device, it's called the Combi, that you could buy as an add-on that will enable you to do electroacupuncture to treat with these antennae in the clinic, and to do quantum light therapy. So this is kind of combination treatment device. It will also enable you to use the programs in these devices, but as I said, via these antennae. We have the BRT device that will invert pathogenic frequencies. That comes as a separate portable device. And here's the quantum light therapy device. Although it's part of the Combi, you can also buy it as a separate device in its own right. So you're well armed with treatment options. And here is a picture of the DeVita-D. You can see it's a lot smaller, and it's just doing the diagnostics as well as enabling you to make homeopathic remedies. You can compare it with the professional one here, and you can see this is quite a lot bigger. It's a lot heavier if you need to carry it or transport it. It does come in a beautiful carry case, but with all the attachments, it's quite heavy, whereas this is much easier, lighter and smaller to transport. So of course you might want to know about the price, because if you were going to do the training to learn to use these devices, you would need to have one of these devices to practice on and obviously to work with clients on. So we've got 2 prices here, the retail price and what's called the partner price. Now, if you were going to buy one of these, whereas you could buy it at the retail price. The likelihood is you'll want to get the cheaper price by becoming a partner, an independent partner with Deta Elis, the company that make them. There's no strings attached here, but it does mean that you get a significantly cheaper price. And it also means you're eligible to receive some money back. Now, I can explain more about this, but in a nutshell, if you have a partner account, after you've bought your first product on any other products, which could be these, you will receive some money back, a proportion of the money back, as what's called a bonus. And for this DeVita-D, you would get 500 euros back. And for the professional, you would get 1,250 euros back. So if we take those amounts you will get back off the total price, effectively, if we turn the euros into pounds, the DeVita-D is going to be approximately £4,000, and the DeVita Professional will be approximately £11,000. So that's guessing at the exchange rate and taking the bonus money that you will get given back off the total price. So obviously they're an investment, but when you compare them with the diagnostic scanners that many other companies have, they're actually relatively cheap. It's easy to find other people's scanners that are 30 grand, 40 grand, a lot more money. So it's well worth looking at these scanners as options, especially as they're medically made, they're scientifically made, they have clinical trials behind them, and they're used by many doctors around the world. So in addition to the products I've mentioned, Deta Elis also make a comprehensive range of supporting products, because of course some of your clients who come for scans or who might be being treated by bioresonance, they might also need some extra support depending on their condition. So Deta Elis makes some pre and probiotics, some omega-3 oil. They make a range of absolutely delicious, yummy, fruity herbal tonics to do things like support and balance pH, to support collagen production, to enhance fat metabolism, to help with the process of detox, and to help energize the body and ensure the body has the right general kind of vitamins and minerals. We also have a hydrogen water bottle to help the process of detox and to help hydrate our clients, and a range of frequency pendants. But these are all things that you can ask me about if you want to know more, or I can send you copies of talks about those products. So, having had a little look at the capabilities of the diagnostic equipment, the question is, why not come and train as a bioresonance practitioner? Why not come and join us for one of the bioresonance trainings? We try to arrange them once a year. The next one is in January 2026. You will not only learn about bioresonance and learn how to use the scanners, you will learn how to use all these treatment devices, and you will learn how to make medical protocols so that you know which programs, which treatment programs your clients need, depending on their scan. So the training is arranged in sections. We have a main part 1 and part 2, which are in-person trainings. What we found was that it was difficult for people to have enough time off work or to get childcare to do all of the training in person. And so we have taken some of what used to be the in-person training days and turned them into video recordings. Dr. Yanis, who is one of the world leading experts in bioelectromagnetic frequency medicine, has made what was the first 3 days of the training into a series of 13 videos where he explains things like the theory of bioresonance, the history of bioresonance. He talks about the different frequencies, the different waveforms, how they work, how they're delivered, and all sorts of bits and pieces about bioresonance and about health and healing. So you would need to watch those before the first in-person days, which are called part 1. And once you book for the training, you will be sent in time before the in-person training. You will be sent these videos to watch. Then we come together for a really exciting 4 days. We will start late afternoon on the first day, so people have a chance to travel or to work in the morning and then come along for the training. The trainings are in Forest Row in East Sussex, and we will meet for the first day, sort of 4 till 9 in the afternoon and evening, and then we'll have 3 full days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it's the 8th to the 11th of January. Then you go away and you practice. So this is where it's great if you've got one of those scanners, because you can practice using the probe, and your ability to give an accurate scan will rely on you getting to grips with using the probe. And using the probe is a bit like learning to drive a car or ride a bike, in that you need to build up a muscle memory. When you start learning to drive, it seems like there's so much to grapple with. You've got to look over your shoulder to see who's coming. You've got to coordinate the clutch and the accelerator. You've got to take the handbrake off. You've got to look in the mirror and. But in time, you just know what to do and you do it automatically. So with the probe, you have to learn which angle to hold it at, what sort of pressure to give. You have to learn a kind of regular rhythm to slightly press it into your client's finger. You need to learn to put some moisture on the end of the probe each time you use it. And there's these few little things that sound quite simple, but we need to build up a reliable muscle memory so that each time we pick up the probe, we can do the same thing with it. And like riding a bike, it just takes a bit of practice. So you go away and you practice, and you might find you get to grips with it really quickly, and you start giving scans. In part 1 of the training, you will learn how to use the probe. You'll have lots of practice. You'll learn how to go through giving a scan. You'll learn the order of the scan. You'll learn how to join up different parts of the scan to form an accurate picture of your client's health. You will learn to make detox programs, because initially, before you can really dive in to treat your client's microorganism load at a deeper level, they have to do a surface level general detox. So you'll learn some detox protocols to give your clients, and then you go away and you practice and come back in February, at the very end of February, in the beginning of March, for part 2, which is an absolutely fascinating training. Again, we'll be doing more practice with the probe, and we will learn how to use some of the other treatment devices we haven't learned about in part 1. We'll learn to make autonosode therapy. We'll learn to make homeopathic remedies. We'll learn how to put together a medical protocol to treat this virus or that virus, or this bacterial infection, or this condition or that condition. Because you can't just, if you want to treat herpes, just put a program for herpes on. You need to combine lots of different pieces, like a jigsaw puzzle. So you'll need some general detox programs, you'll need different herpes programs, you'll need programs to remove the toxins from the herpes virus, you'll need some programs to open the lymph passageways and ensure that all the nasties are flushed out through the lymphatic drainage system, and. So we'll learn how to make these different protocols. It's absolutely fascinating. And we'll also learn about the different stages of healing, what bioresonance can offer for different conditions in different stages of regeneration or degeneration. We'll learn a lot about the whole treatment side, and it's just fascinating. And then, of course, you can go away, you can work more with your clients, but that's not the end. Of course, you need some ongoing support. So there will then be roughly 1 a month Zoom calls with Dr. Yanis. He will meet with us all on Zoom and go through various case studies where we have the opportunity to help him work out what to do with this particular client, and of course to ask questions, to ask for the support you need following the work you're doing with the scanner. And after that, Dr. Yanis is always available. So if you want to ask a question or you're not sure about something, he will give you his contact details so you can get in contact and get the support you need. So I can't remember if I've already said this. Dr. Yanis, for those who are wondering, I think I said he was one of the leading experts in bioresonance. He's also a medical doctor and also a naturopath and a homeopath. So he has a really fantastic range of skills and lots of experience. And in this training, what I find so wonderful is that he not only shares the information that he has to share about how to use the scanner, etc., but he brings lots of information from his experience and gives lots of extra tips and recommendation, tells interesting stories, shares a lot about his personal discoveries with bioresonance. So there really is a wealth of wonderful information to learn from. So the next training, as I mentioned, is January. It would be really wonderful to have people coming on this training. Yanis has offered to come over, especially from Greece, to do this training, but we do need 8 people as a minimum to run it. And because flights get expensive nearer the time, Dr. Yanis has asked that, as far as possible, people book before the 16th of November, so that we know whether we have sufficient people to run the training, and therefore he can book his flights, we can book rooms, we can book a venue, etc., etc. So as an incentive, if you book before the 16th of November, if you're just booking for part 1, because you can pay for the parts separately, if you just book for part 1, we'll give you a €100 discount. It's 1,200 euros. If you book both parts together, you save €200. It's 1,800 euros in total. So roughly that's the difference of, if you're paying 1,200 euros for just part 1 before the 16th of November, that's about £1,000. 1,800 euros is about £1,500. That's for both parts. And of course, if you do the training, you will get certificates that you can use both for insurance purposes and to prove that you are a qualified bioresonance practitioner. So that's the end of the slides. Let me come out of screen share. I hope that gives you a little bit of information about the devices we have for diagnostics and for treatment. And I hope that excites you to come on the training. It would be wonderful to have you come and join us. If you want to know more, please get in contact with me. You can contact me via email or via my website. I'm happy to hook up and talk more. I'm happy to tell you more about the training, more about the devices. So please do get in contact. Thank you so much for listening. And yeah, I hope this has been of benefit. And do look out for all the other talks that I'm giving. There's many talks about the different devices and trainings. And my next talk will be actually going through a scan report and showing you what the scan reveals, and looking at different ways of using the mini devices for self-treatment using ready-made protocols versus using the mini devices with tailor-made programs that you would make as a practitioner. So look out for those. Thank you so much.